Screen recording window. Show stop record. Finder. Desktop.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to part 3 of my Learning the Mac with VoiceOver series. And in this, I'm going to cover a few simple things, but just to recap, in the first episode, I covered basic navigation with VoiceOver. So the file structure of the computer, how to move around with the keyboard and the trackpad, and just various things like that. So if you don't know that yet, go back to episode 1, which you can find on my channel, Access Tech Media, and go through episodes 1. And in episode 2, I covered system preferences, so all the options in your Mac, as well as the VoiceOver utility, which is where you configure all of the options for VoiceOver, of which there are numerous. So if you're not completely aware of what all VoiceOver can do, go check that out as well, because I don't actually go through every single thing, but I show you how in-depth the utility can be. So here in episode 3, I'm going to be doing two things. I'm going to be tackling the built-in word processor for the Mac, and I'm also going to be moving on to Safari. Safari is going to be the main focus of this video because TextEdit, which is the application that every Mac comes with, and that's what I recommend you start with before you move up to Pages, which is like a more advanced version of TextEdit. But I'm going to start with TextEdit. That's only going to take a few minutes because it's easy. So I'm going to press Command Space to open Spotlight.
Spotlight. System dialog. QuickTime Player. Name.
Text.
10 recent documents. SW. TextEdit. Applications. Icon. Finder.
Enter.
Desktop. Mac. TextEdit. Open. Window. Icon view. Task.
And by default, it's going to open a browser window where you can browse already created files, but I'm going to hit Escape and press
Keyboard
Command
focus.
N.
New. Untitled 8 window.
There we go. So because I've already opened Untitled Documents, this is like the 8th one that I've opened, but here I am in a blank document. And if you recall from previous episodes, the Mac operating system is configured with something called grouping. And grouping involves interacting with different elements in an application. If you're not familiar with interacting, please go back and visit my first video. I cover it in excruciating detail. So here,
Trackpad commander on. Ruler. You are ruler.
I'm going to first go over the basic elements of TextEdit. You have the ruler.
You are currently on the text area. You are currently on the text area inside of a scroll area.
And the main text area. That's it.
Ruler.
The only two. On the very top level anyway. So let's interact with the ruler.
In ruler. 15 items. 0 inches.
So as you hear, there are 15 items in the ruler.
0 inches. You are 0 inches. 0.5 inches. 1 inches. 1.5 inches. 2 inches. 2.5 inches.
And that's all the ruler does. It's literally a ruler.
0 inches out of ruler. You are currently
All right, let's go in here. And here you type. That's it.
Mac. Suggested.
Now, what you just heard was autocorrect. You hear that little noise? That little clicky noise in the background? That was it autocorrecting something. And if you type something and it says, for example, when I typed Mac, it wanted to capitalize it. So it said Mac suggested correction. So you can either just hit space and continue and it'll automatically correct it, or you can hit the down arrow to revert to what you previously typed. And honestly, that's all TextEdit is. It's basically just like Notepad, but you have a bunch of features up here. So let's go to the menu bar by pressing VOM.
J.
Oops.
Suggested correction. 12-point Helvetic. This is an example of using TextEdit in the Mac. Menu bar. Apple. TextEdit. File. You are currently on the menu bar item.
So there's your file bar where you can do all your save options and exporting and all that.
Edit.
The edit where you have cut, copy, paste, and all that.
Format.
Your formatting menu,
Format.
which you have
Font.
your
You are
font.
current text. Make plain text Command Shift T. Prevent editing. Wrap to page Command Shift W. Allow hyphenation. You are currently on the menu item.
So that's just an example of some of the stuff that you can
insertion at beginning of text
that you can access in the menu bar. So it does have a few more features than Notepad, but it's not quite a full-featured word processing program. Now, this is not going to be a comprehensive guide on TextEdit. If you would like a complete comprehensive guide on TextEdit and you don't want to just go in and figure it all out, let me know down in the comments and I'll sit down and make one. So, sorry about that if you heard that. There's actually another Mac over there that I'm working on. So, basically, you come in here, you type stuff, you save it, that's it. That's pretty much all TextEdit is used for. You can do some very basic formatting, which is very easy to do. And if you've used Windows or you've used iOS, the commands are virtually the same. So I'm going to go ahead and close this.
Quit text edit in dialog 4. Window Untitled 8. Untitled.
All right. I pressed Command Q.
Disclosure. Untitled 8. Tags. Tags. Where? Text edit. File format. Rich text. Delete.
All right.
You are
I'm going
currently
to press delete. I'm not going to save this because I don't need it.
Press delete. Finder.
And away it goes. Did you hear that, baby? All right. So when I first booted up the Mac, it goes, I hadn't pressed anything. This voice comes up. Your Mac includes a screen reading software called VoiceOver. If you would like to turn on VoiceOver now and set up your Mac, press Command F5. If you do not know how to use VoiceOver, press the V key now. That's so badass. Thank you, Apple. Thank you, Apple. Sorry, Microsoft kind of sucks. It's still recording. I don't care. I'm going to stand up against the water. Because I already finished TextEdit. It's easy. It's just like Notepad. Except there are a few more formatting options.
I think you should show them also, like, where it saves to.
I don't need to. I already covered the file structure in the previous system. You can make it save to wherever you want.
Oh, okay.
I covered the Finder and all that. The first episode's like 40 minutes long, baby.
Okay. I hadn't watched the episodes because I was kind of waiting until my Mac came. So I'd have something to follow along with. You feel me?
Yep. I'll finish setup after I'm done recording this video. Okay? I'll record this video. I'll do setup, and then while it's doing that, I'll record one more short one. I want to try and get, 2 videos in every other week. Let me adjust my mic stand again. There we go. Ooh, that tasted like pizza. Oh yeah, burp it all in the mic. Oh.
If these people only knew.
If they only knew.
No, they could just watch our other channel for that.
No, I think I save all this footage, so I'm really thinking at the end of the year, doing a blooper reel. All right, hello guys. So I am back, and we are going to cover Safari now. So I'm going to press Command Space as I did before to open Spotlight.
Spotlight.
And I'm going to press not Command Backspace. I'm going to press Backspace because our previous search thing is already here. And I'm going to type Safari. I'm going to start typing Safari. S-A-F.
Safari.
Hit
App
enter.
Finder. Desktop. Safari. Favorites. Window.
And here we are in Safari. Now, Safari,
Favorites. Toolbar.
let me make sure I start at the very top.
Close button.
Okay.
Toolbar.
The toolbar is probably going to be the first element in every program, most programs anyway. Now, technically, this is the first element in an application. But in a lot of them, there are going to be 3 buttons to the left of this. So if you VO arrow left,
Full screen button.
you have full
This
screen.
button also has an action to zoom the window. You are currently on a minimize button.
You have the minimize button
Close button.
and the close button.
Full
So
screen
I'm going to
button.
go ahead and full screen
This
it,
button also press full screen button.
just cause.
Space with
5K iMac, why not?
Safari containing
And
window
we are going to go through the various elements of the program. I'm going to start at high level first, so I'm not going to interact with anything and just go through and show you what all is here. Critical things only. Because the purpose of this video, I'm not going to show you every single facet of the computer. I find that people learn best when they are shown the basics and they learn how to use the computer their own way themselves. So that's what I'm doing here. All right, so we have the toolbar.
vertical favorites. Toolbar. New tab.
There's a new tab button.
Vertical splitter.
The vertical splitter, which you should never need to touch.
Favorites.
And here is going to be where the meat and potatoes of the program is. Right now, when you load it up, by default, I have it so that it shows me all of my favorites instead of loading up a home page. So I'm going to go up to the toolbar, with the toolbar.
In toolbar. 6 items. Go back. Go back.
All right, so there's
Show
a
the
go
previous
back button.
Go forward.
There's a forward button. And back and forward, there are buttons up at the toolbar, but there are actually shortcuts that you can use. To go back is Command left bracket, and to go forward is Command right bracket. And it's going to take some getting used to. It's weird, I know. I'm used to using Alt left and right arrow in Internet Explorer to do that. It took me about a year to get used to doing that, especially if you have to flip-flop back and forth between operating systems like I do. It gets kind of confusing sometimes. Like, I bet you I'm going to go into work Monday and start using Mac commands on my Windows PC. But anyway, so
Sidebar.
there is the button that shows the sidebar. I'm going to let you explore that on your own.
Search or enter. Sidebar. Search or enter website name.
All right, here is the address bar.
Share.
The share button. So most applications actually have a share button or a share menu somewhere similar to iOS. So if you're ever on a web page and you want to send a direct link to someone, this is where you go. You go to the toolbar, interact, and VO right arrow until you get to share.
Show/exit tab overview.
Okay, there's a tab overview. So if you have multiple tabs open, you exit out of your website window, go up to the the toolbar, and you can show all of your tabs. So that's helpful if you have like 20 tabs open or something like that, which sounds outlandish, but I've done it. And you can have all of them in a grid and all that stuff.
Show/exit tab
And you
over.
can actually, if you go into your tab overview and you have a whole bunch of tabs open, if you know what your window is called, you can actually use first letter navigation to find it.
Out of new tab. Vertical splitter. Favorites.
All right. So that's basically the entirety of Safari. So I'm going to go to a website now. I'm going to go to Google. And instead of going all the way up to the toolbar and interacting with the toolbar and arrowing over to the address bar and all that stuff, press Command L. L is in Lima Bean.
Open location. Search for
www.
Google. Google.com.
And enter.
12 Apple system UI font.
And
Font
there's
black.
Google.
Google search. I'm feeling lucky. Google search.
Here is a little tiny oopsie in Safari. Sometimes it will automatically interact you with the HTML content, which is where the web page is, because of course a lot of web pages are coded in HTML. So if I stop interacting,
Out of Google. Vertical splitter. Google. You are currently on web content. To
all right, there's the web content. So instead of the
Enter the web
favorites
area,
being
press
there, instead of the favorites being there, now that I've actually opened a web page, the web page is actually there. So you interact with that.
in Google.
And I like this, and I'm going to go ahead and reinforce why grouping is so important. I like this because if you just want to see your web page content, you don't want to see the toolbar, you don't want to see all those buttons up there, you don't want to see anything else in the operating system, once you interact with the web page, you don't see anything else but the web page. So that really does help with
Gmail,
stuff like
link.
that. So we are actually going to get into something called QuickNav here. And I'm going to go over QuickNav first because I've been using the keyboard this entire time, so I'm going to try and stay consistent with that, and I'll show you how to use the trackpad afterwards. Now, QuickNav is a mode in VoiceOver that you can use that allows you to do a lot of quick navigations with just combinations of your arrow keys. So, by default, QuickNav is off, so to turn QuickNav on, you press your left and right arrow at the same time.
QuickNav on.
Now QuickNav is on. And I'm going to show you how to do a couple of things with QuickNav. First of all, pressing your left and right arrows now is the equivalent of a left and right swipe. Versus doing, when QuickNav is off, it just does the standard left and right arrow actions. But with QuickNav on, you can now, instead of holding down your VoiceOver keys and pressing the arrow keys, you just use your arrow keys. Now, the up and down arrows actually use your rotor, and I'm going to be using the rotor very heavily, so I will review it in this episode. Now, what the rotor allows you to do is it allows you to access custom navigation functions specific to VoiceOver. Now, to use your rotor on the keyboard, You use, to rotor counterclockwise, you use a combination of your down and left arrow. And to rotor clockwise, you use a combination of your down and right arrow. So, for example, if I want to find a specific type of page element, for example, if I want to navigate strictly by text field,
In Gmail, link, Gmail, in text, Gmail. Text fields. Navigation.
okay, correction. I'll edit that part out. To rotor counterclockwise, it is a combination of your left arrow and up arrow. To rotor clockwise, it is a combination of your right arrow and up arrow. And what that allows you to do is it really allows you to navigate by specific page elements, and that is specific to VoiceOver. When VoiceOver is turned on, for example, if I want to navigate strictly by text fields,
Characters. Words. Window spots. Links. Buttons. Text fields.
there we go. Now, to move forward and back through the list of whatever page element you have selected, in this case text fields, just use your up and down arrows. It's the equivalent of an up or down swipe while using your rotor.
Search combo box. Text field not found. Text field not found.
All right, so of course everybody knows there's only one text field on Google's homepage, so I'm going to search Access Tech Media, hit enter. All right,
Search 3 items.
now I'm going to rotor counterclockwise, which is up and left arrow,
Buttons. Headings.
to headings, and just press my down arrow.
Add. Media and entertainment. Adobe. Make the most out of video. Link. Search results. Unbalanced access to tech media. iAfrican. Link. Ethernet networks. Tech and media access control. Exam collection. Link. Access Technology Higher Education Network. At HEN. Link. AMAC Accessibility Solutions and Research Center. Link. Software Access Vertical Line Media Tech. University of Illinois at Urbana. Access Computer Technology.
Anyway, so you get the idea. That is how QuickNav essentially works. Now, there's one more cool thing that you can actually do with QuickNav. And you can actually interact with QuickNav. So, to stop interacting, use your left and down arrow at the same time.
Out of Access Tech Media. Google Search.
And to interact again, just use your down and right arrow.
In Access Tech Media. Google Search. Google Apps. For Google Notifications. Google.
And I like that because if you were to just use the regular keyboard commands, what's the interacting command? It's VO shift down arrow and VO shift up arrow to interact and stop interacting, and that's a pain. So now I'm going to show you how to do it with the trackpad. Those who already use iOS, you don't need to listen to this part. It's exactly the same. So I'm going to make sure that my keyboard trackpad commander. So I'm going to make sure my trackpad commander is on by holding down my VoiceOver keys and doing a twist with 2 fingers to the right.
Trackpad commander is already on.
And it is already on. So in order to do the rotor gesture, and this is something that a lot of people have trouble with, you want to put 2 fingers down on the trackpad. I normally use my index and middle finger, but you can use a finger on each hand if you want. And you want to do a twisting motion, like a clock is turning, or you're turning a dial, or something like that. And you rotor clockwise.
Search tabs. Blank. Buttons. Text fields. Navigation.
And counterclockwise.
You are currently on a button. Text buttons. You are currently on a button.
And unlike using QuickNav on the keyboard,
Text fields.
you get that little sound. So let me mute my speech.
VoiceOver muted.
And I did that with a 3-finger double tap on the trackpad. So now listen to this. Oh,
VoiceOver.
apparently it doesn't work when your speech is muted.
Navigate. Character. Words.
So, do you hear that sound behind the speech?
Window spot. Links.
If you hear that, you know you're doing it right. And of course, to move through your rotor settings,
Headings.
swipe up to go back,
Heading not found. Add. Media and entertainment.
or swipe
Adobe.
down to go forward.
Add. Media and entertainment. Adobe. Make the most out of video. Link.
And that's pretty much all Safari really is. That's really all it is. You use your basic voiceover commands plus your rotor and quick nav if you choose to, but you don't have to navigate through it, and just feel free to play with it. Now, this is where I'm going to end episode 3. I'm going to try and keep these just a little shorter than usual. The first episode's kind of long, but I find that these videos do a little bit better when I break them up into shorter chunks. But if you like what you see, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Tell me down in the comments if there's anything specific you would like to learn, if you would like me to do a more advanced series alongside this one, or if you would rather me naturally progress up to the advanced stuff from the beginner portions. I can continue to do that as well, but I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.
Finder. QuickTime. Stop recording.